So making Joker's mask, basically I started off with a regular mask that was made from paper fibers, and I just cut it up to the general shape of Joker's mask using references. I did the outside shape while also conforming to the contours that the mask was already in, and I also cut out the eyes to the proper shape. After that, I decided to harden the fibers by coating it with PVA glue. This seeps into the paper fibers and hardened it, making it more durable. I then covered it in a layer of gesso, which is basically just a primer that's white. This first mask actually turned out to be a fail, but I made a few others and I eventually settled on a copy that worked out quite well. To make the eye cutouts, or the templates, I just traced over the general areas of where the eye hole and the shape of the mask were onto some painter's tape, and I drew on the rough shape with using references from online. I made sure to make two of these, one being mirrored for the other eye. What I'm doing is coloring the area where the eye patches are going to be. I guess that's the term I'll use. I'm coloring those black, and then I'm going to put the eye patches on, then I'm going to spray paint the rest white. After that, I did some touch-ups with just a black marker, and then I covered all of it in a conservation lacquer. So, Joker's pistol, or gun, seems like it's based off of 1911, And I found this toy pistol at like the dollar store that looks very similar in shape, but there's some differences. So first, I want to add some weight to it. To add weight to it, I decided to take it apart and break anything that actually worked because, yeah, sometimes it gets in your way. So after taking it apart, I decided to fill up the magazine, or the water gun magazine, with hot glue because it was fun. And I also filled in some areas with hot glue, and for the larger areas, I literally just got some clay and I stuffed it in there with a little bit of glue. And then I decided to glue it back at some points, but screwed it back. And I also filled in the holes using a combination of clay and hot glue, just to make it seem more solid. After that, I sanded down the whole thing so that paint would actually apply to this cheap plastic. I went with a base scrub of black to get it into the actual pores of the plastic so that the other layers go on nicely and they look good. After this first layer was done, I decided to scuff it up a little bit more so that the next layer of paint would adhere even better by using some steel wool. This also smooths it out a little, but also gives it enough texture so that it has somewhat of a metallic look when I put on the metallic paint. I masked off the area where the barrel of the gun, or the top of the gun, is to paint whatever details I need to on the gun. Warning, this gun does look somewhat realistic, especially from far away, and I advise you to never take it out in public. And if you do intend to take it out anywhere for a photo shoot or cosplay or convention or something, I highly recommend that you put a highly visible orange or yellow tip at the front to indicate that it is indeed a prop. Please, don't get shot. I went in with a metallic silver enamel paint to paint the barrel. Also added some details such as the tip of the gun and the edges at the front of the barrel where it sticks out. Also areas such as the magazine release were painted silver, and the magazine itself was just given a color of black. All of this was again sealed with a conservation varnish. After I painted the barrel silver, I went in with just some black markers and I used a reference to draw in the detail, or like the decal on Joker's pistol. I hate drawing templates, but looks like you gotta draw a template.
You
I have provided a template for Joker's Dagger in the description. Make sure to refer to the reference points to make sure that the scale is proper, but you can scale it to whatever size you wish. I'm just taping the pieces together using the alignment lines provided. This part was a little long, so I decided to add some Joker and Morgana default dancing. I would go back and edit this, but it would take too long, and I am very tired. Joker's Dagger will be made from hardened paper. Hardened paper is paper that is glued to itself, so it creates a material that is easy to cut when it is wet, but once it is dry, it becomes a very hard and strong, durable material. I'm using a 110-pound cardstock. The reason why I'm using such a heavy paper is because I can make less sheets, and they are thicker, meaning that I only have to make so many layers for the templates and the pieces. You can use thinner paper, but you will need to make more sheets. If you are using 110-pound cardstock, I only need about 25 sheets for 2 parts. Those 2 parts are the middle part on the template. I had to make 2 of those. I will get to how I made the center blade part later. I am now cutting out the center parts from the template so that I can trace them on to the base that they will be cut from. I am now creating the base that the center pieces will be made from. I'm just layering those hardened paper sheets in a long way formation in sort of a brick layout, so that there are minimal weak points. Basically, just make this as long as the part that you're making is. You will need to make about 2 of these because there is, well, 2 centerpieces.
And I've got to make my decision. This time it could be my moment. Is this a mirage or a chance to fulfill my mission?
Now that the base has been made and is mostly dry, I got the template that I cut out and I tacked it on to the base, and then I just traced around it to transfer the design onto the base, and then I cut it out using an X-Acto blade. For some straight edges, make sure to use a ruler, and for the curves, make sure to go slow and make multiple passes. This will result in a cleaner finish.
Don't ask why I'm ready, but I'm ready to strike them down now. I just saw the new stars. There's no time for indecision. A river in a dry land.
For the center hole, I just used a bridge compass with a blade attachment.
Beginnings burned our feet. Now we need it. A heartbeat for demon. Oasis in a sea sled. Remind us what we're here for. Creating new life. Creating rivers in the desert.
After I cut out the bases, I went back to the template and cut out the larger actual blade portion. For the center blade part, I decided to use a 1/4 inch thick pine wood that I just had lying around. But you can also use MDF or medium density fiberboard for that. That is about 1/8 thick, or just hardened paper. But I'm trying to include the detail of the bevel that's on the blade. I decided to use wood because it'll be easier and I can sand it down to a bevel look. If you are using hardened paper, you could also make it even more layers thick so that it has a thicker thickness.
When the hope of new beginnings burned our feet. Now we need it. A heartbeat for demon. Oasis in a sea sled. Remind us what we're here for. Creating new life. Creating rivers in the desert. When a cool drop of water's all I need. Gotta clear my head of anger and greed. A place to refresh heart and mind. Can I find some time? And rivers and dry land. The land is lost. When the hope of new beginnings burned our feet. Now we need it. A heartbeat for demon. Oasis in a sea sled. Remind
I am adding super glue to the edges so that they can become a little more stronger and can withstand more wear. Some of the details on the template were made from hardened paper. These were also sanded a little so that they have a cleaner appearance. All the round bolt-looking objects or details on the blade are made from brass fasteners. You can find these commonly at places like Staples. I just removed the tabs and used some hot glue to secure them in place. I also made sure to scuff them so that any sort of paint I put on them adheres well.
Out of nowhere, all around you is not what you foretold. You never see it coming.